one. All right, so we just finished watching the latest episode of Big Brother, which was episode 3, first veto. Seems like there was a lot that happened, right?
Yeah, I actually took some notes and I was able to get a full page front and back and another page of interesting notes that I kind of want to go over.
Yeah, just craziness.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed the episode. We got to see things that I saw in the live feeds that wasn't in the other episode, and I got to see them play out this time. So it's kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, I guess just to kind of get it out there. So I know you had mentioned like a few, maybe like 2 episodes ago about Derek X being a potential nom, right?
Yes.
Right. So
I was reading the comments that were on the live feeds, and everybody was talking about how Derek X was possibly the backdoor.
Right.
And the other episode really didn't show much that was going to happen, but this episode dove in and showed.
But see, okay, but now do you see why I love veto episodes? Because I feel like veto episodes always go into like nitty gritty. They do. They really do.
No, some veto competitions are very boring, especially if the noms aren't going to change and you already know that. Like you can already tell. Like it's a waste of an episode.
No, the episode. Okay, so the competition itself, yes, it can be boring sometimes. But I feel like what happens around that is like very, because once like the veto is played and then the whoever wins, like anything can happen. You don't know. Like someone might just lose their mind and use the veto, or someone might, I don't know. You just never know. Like something can switch. Because once the veto is, yeah. So I don't know. I love veto.
I just some episodes like whenever you can already tell that the noms are going to stay the same. Like it's annoying to me because I already know that. Like you can already tell that's just how the episode's going to go, and I feel like that was a waste of an hour.
Yeah,
I see where you're coming. That the video does do a lot of potentials because then if there's a backdoor plan, like it gets set into motion. I completely get you. I really do.
So yeah. So I guess we'll just kind of go from the beginning and then we'll kind of break it down as we go.
Yeah. So the episode really starts with right after the nomination ceremony, as it normally does. Alyssa is really upset over the nomination, and she thinks that his excuse or his reasoning of putting her on the block was kind of pointless and didn't make sense to her. She's very upset.
Well, and I think that's true. As like surprising as it may sound from like the previous, I don't know. I feel like Alyssa is like one of those people that like I started off like not liking from the beginning, and then every episode I'm just like slowly starting to like her more. I don't know why. Like I don't know if it's like because she's so pretty. Like she is so like honestly like I'm just gonna put it out there. She is so pretty. I feel like I said every single time. But then also her personality, she's just very real, very genuine, she's smart, she's strategic, and like she's not afraid to confront things like this. Like, you know, just like she went up to Frenchie and she even took Christian with her and she's like, hey, we're not in a show, man. What the fuck are you doing? So like I think like that in herself, like just how she's being herself, like it's kind of saving her this time around because she made it really clear that she's not in a showman and that she's not a threat, pretty much. You know what I mean? And like it kind of helped her a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I see where it helped her. You say that every episode you're kind of liking her a little bit more. She's still very indifferent to me. She's just another person in the house. Like,
I don't see it.
I don't know. Something interesting that I saw moving a little bit on from Alyssa is that right after the nominations, Kylan went into one of the rooms where Derek F is at, and a group got together.
Right.
At the beginning of the episode, I questioned it. Derek F, Kylan, Azar, question mark, maybe Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, is this a group? Is this something that's like an alliance here? Why did he run to these people first?
Right. I didn't catch on to it honestly, but I did see that part. I just didn't catch on to like that group though. I just thought that they were just, I think Derek was just there and then Kylan happened to come in and they started talking and then the other 2 girls kind of showed up there. I didn't think it was like a planned conversation, but I mean it could have been. I think in general, Kylan's like not a threat right now in the sense that he's just not someone that people are targeting. People want him there. So whatever he did, it worked for him.
Well, moving on a little bit further from the episode on this main topic, that question that I just asked gets answered because they are in a group.
Some of them, right?
Derek F. No, Hannah is not. She's out. She's out. But right. Derek F., Kylan, and Azar and Tiffany are a part of an alliance called the Cookout.
Right. And they're bringing in Xavier, right?
So let me backtrack a little bit.
Right.
The people already on it is Derek F., Kylan, Xavier, and Azar. Again, let me backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I'm not missing anybody because
I think Kylan was the last one that had it, though.
Yes, so it's Derek F., Azar, Tiffany, and then they're bringing in Kylan.
Well, you forgot Xavier. They brought in Xavier first. So it's Derek, Azar, Tiffany. Yeah, it's Tiffany, Derek, and Azar. And then they were all talking in the kitchen, and then Xavier happened to pass by, and they just kind of casually brought it up. And then they said, okay, we'll call it the Cookout. And then they were like, and then Tiffany impressed me in that because she was like this right here, we can't have this here though. We can't all have this little chat in front of everybody. We need to kind of just like do our own thing, but come back and give info. Which I think that was a good move. And then they all agreed to it. And then I think Tiffany actually went up to Kylan and said, hey, this is the little group that we're coming up with. We want you in. It's going to be called the Cookout. And then they formed it, which I thought that's one of my favorite alliances so far for sure. I mean, if anything, that's probably the only solid alliance so far. So it's a good one.
I like it. I love the way they're going about it. Like they want to have a person in every group and then they meet up. However, the main person of the alliance, it seems right now like it's Tiffany, and that scares me because I see Tiffany as a person that whenever she gets cornered, she's going to open her mouth.
But do you think she would expose him though?
I do. I really do. I even wrote it down. I was like, Tiffany, questionable as leader.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's out there. It's a prediction. I do feel like she's going to end up talking about it. I like what they're doing right now. It does seem like a solid alliance, and it could potentially work, and I want to see it work. But Tiffany is scary.
And it's weird because, as we go on with it, that's why it's cool that we're doing these little episodes, going through the episodes, because I want to say the first one, you were like all about Tiffany, and I was like not about Tiffany, right? And then we were both about Xavier, and then now we're not really about Xavier, but now you're not about Tiffany too much, and I am about Tiffany. So I'm I'm not 100% about Tiffany, but I'm still kind of I like the fact that she's taking the lead in that, because out of everybody, I thought she was being the floater the most, but now that she's actually forming that, and I was like, she even took the reins over Azal, and I thought Azal was going to be the leader of anything of that group, but she Tiffany's no, I'm going to be the leader of this one, and she that's good. That says a lot.
I do see that. And then again, also with the whole Azal thing, I thought she was going to be a leader of stuff, and she's not really proven herself. She's kind of just going along with things right now. But if we are talking about floaters, there is a new favorite on my list, and that's Sarah Beth.
Of course, yep.
After this episode, she is playing an amazing floater, because I've seen her in several different groups making these good connections. Whenever she was with one of the groups, she was talking about how emotional she got about being bisexual and her coming out story and her family. That's perfect. That's exactly what she needed to do with that group in order for them to make them feel comfortable with her.
Right.
But she's playing an amazing floater.
No one's even looking at her. No one's even talked about her. She's just coasting throughout the whole. I think maybe everybody else's name has at least been thrown one. I don't think Sarah's name has been thrown at all. So that's good.
And I love that.
Yep. She's doing good. I'm for sure. Honestly, as we probably can start doing a little rating thing as we go through episodes. But for example, right now, I'm still Kylan. I want to say Sarah's my second now, and then I have Zal as my third, and then Claire. I don't know what Claire's up to, but Claire's like my fourth, and then Xavier. Which honestly, Xavier's kind of questionable. I don't even know if he's on top
Claire
5.
Claire had this little mini quick interview in the DR during the HOH, the veto comp, and she just came off really cocky, really rude, and I was just like, girl, this is a turnoff. Like, why did you say these things?
What was it when she was talking about Travis or whatever, that she would have picked him or something like that?
Yeah, she was like, I just wanted to make it known that I didn't pick him. He automatically came to my team. Like, that was like, that was kind of bad on her part. I mean, Claire is not anywhere that I'm not thinking of Claire at all right now.
Same.
She hasn't really been seen in episodes much. So, I mean, she's still questionable. But yeah, Sarah Beth definitely on my top one as of right now. She moved Azad down a little bit.
She did.
Kylan is moving up on my list. He had
my number one,
amazing body shots today. Him and Derek X both had some body shots that I was just like, yes, please take it off.
Okay, so let's kind of break it down, right? So, Frenchie again. I'm just like I don't want to go too much into detail about Frenchie, but he's definitely he's taking his like HOH brain like to the max, and it's so extra. I'm just like he's the one that caused all of this from the get-go. Like it's funny because everybody else is building relationships with everybody, you know, even if it's one other person. I don't feel like Frenchie has anybody. I mean, besides maybe Derek F, but even that's questionable because I think Derek F is more loyal to the cookout, but I could be wrong.
I think he has a genuine connection with Brent. Brent really thinks that their F2 is something real.
You're right.
Do I think
you are right.
Frenchie thinks that's real? Probably not, because Brent is one of the meatheads.
Right. You're right. But I mean, like, honestly, like, Frenchie was in such a good position when he first got HOH. Like, he had all of the girls on his side. Like you said from the other episode, he had people of color on his side, and now he doesn't have anybody. Like, he just doesn't really have. He went too much too soon. Like, he really did. Like, he went from targeting Christian to targeting Alyssa, and then to targeting Derek X, and then now Travis. It's like, dude, how many people do you want to target in 1 week? Like, there's literally only so much you can do with one HOH. Like,
I mean, we can honestly say that his HOH weeks was a complete mess. Everything that he wanted happened exact opposite of what he wanted. It's really safe to say Frenchie is in a lot of trouble going into next week.
For sure, 1,000%. Like, again, it just kind of goes back to, does he have anybody on his side? Like, he might have Brent, but like, let's say for his perfect situation, if Brent wins HOH next week, I don't think Brent is at the position where he would want to just align himself with French and then put everybody else on the side. I don't think they're at that point. I think Brent is playing a smarter game than that, where he's like, hey man, like, I really like you and stuff, but you did rub people the wrong way last week with building so many like different things that were not there, and then now everybody wants you out. So I kind of have to go with something else. Because if Brent doesn't win, I think French is in trouble 1,000%. Like, I do not.
I think Frenchie is in trouble with everybody who wins next week, because he, like you said, he went around making promises and literally went against all of them. Every single promise that he made, he went against. He's not safe with anybody.
You know, and I think the weird thing with him, though, is that he claims to be like a logical person. That's weird. He claims to be a logical person, but he's not really that logical. I think he's more emotional, because he overheard people talking about him, which, I mean, I get it. I can't be like, why would you do that? But like, he heard people talking about him when you're in Big Brother, people talk about everybody pretty much. And he just ran with it, and he's like, oh, now Derek is my target. And it's like, and then he saw Alyssa and Christian being like a little showmancy, but they weren't even a showmancy, and he runs with it. It's like, you're not being logical, dude. You're really not being logical. Like, keep your head straight and go for one target that you want, and that's it. Like, to go back and forth with stuff, you know? I mean, in a way, it's good because he is going to get, I mean, I'm assuming at this point it's going to be Travis that's going to go. Spoiler alert, right? But at least he got a big target out of the way, but I just don't think that he went about it the smartest way.
Yeah,
you know?
correct. And another reason why I think that that Frenchie is not going to be too safe next week, even if Brent wins, is because the moment that Frenchie told him Derek X is my target for a backdoor, Brent ran to Derek X, and I love that he did that.
Right. That means that he has a loyalty more towards Derek and his team. See, Brent is really, he's another one that's, again, going through that little list of people, right? Brent is kind of like slowly coming up the ranks to me because he is very strategic. He's literally keeping his head in the game. Like, he's not thinking girls, he's not thinking he's not thinking about like anything like that. He's just thinking the game. He's like, okay, I need to keep myself safe. Like, he even said, like, I went from like being in the freaking economy section of the airplane where I'm like in the bathroom or whatever to first class. And I was like, you technically did do that because you went from being the target to like not even a target at all.
Yeah.
And I can respect it.
Yeah.
So
now, talking of Brent and Derek X, I know that they're in the same team, but one of the questions that I wrote down in my notes is, are they final twos? Do you think it's a final two thing, or is it just a group thing?
It might be. Who knows? I didn't even think about that, honestly. I can see it. And it would be kind of
smart. I can.
If they have maybe a secret final two, that'd be kind of cool. That would make it exciting for the season if it's really not talked about too much, but they have that little understanding between them two. That would be pretty cool if they did. And I can see it because I mean, Derek proved himself to be a comp piece this episode, obviously, because so if we should rewind a little bit. So we have Alyssa and Kylan up, and then Brent is playing, and then we have three more people playing, right? So we had a house guest choice from Kylan.
We had a house guest, yes, from Kylan.
And he picked
Travis.
Travis, that's right. That's see again. Travis is forgetting.
That is a horrible move.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think Kylan is trying to make it known that French is a target sneakily. He's trying to make it known to French and to the house that he's like, you know what, I was maybe working with French, but now that he nominated me, I'm not working with him. Even despite what he said in the ceremony, because he's thinking ahead. He's thinking, you know what, look, had French been kind of controlling Kylan in any way, shape, or form, he would have probably picked someone that's more on French's side. He would probably pick Azal or someone else in his little group, but he did not. He was like, I'm going to pick Travis, who's in my group, and I'm going to make sure that French knows that I'm not with him anymore. And I'm going to let the whole house know. I think it's like a sneaky way for him to let people know that he's done with French.
I just saw it differently. I saw it like he's gonna try to associate with these meatheads, and I feel like that's eventually gonna come out. And I feel like he's just gonna get tied to them, and I feel like it's gonna be a bad move in the future. We'll see what happens, but I do think it's kind of bad.
I don't see it, honestly. I think that Kylan has placed himself really well in the house. I don't think he is planning to that. He's a strategist for sure. Like he has a good read in the house. And I just think that, no, I don't think that's going to be a thing. But I mean, who knows? I just think that he strategized it really well and said, you know, I'm going to pick the other guy in my team because he's assuming that Travis would probably be the only one in the group of the people that would save him, and that's why he picked him. Because there's no one else that would have probably saved him. They love him, but they wouldn't have saved him besides Travis. I think Travis would have used it on him. But then again,
oh, definitely.
Yeah. So then the other two were Derek X, and then who was the last one? Sorry, I keep forgetting
Tiffany.
Tiffany playing the veto?
Mm-hmm.
What?
She was picked.
Oh God, okay. So the part was funny, right? Because we had Derek as the episode went on, French was like, okay, I'm gonna target Derek X, and then he wanted to target Travis. and they both got to play in the veto. He's like, oh my god, like the
His
two people that I'm
face
targeting, they're both
was hilarious. Like at this point, if we want something to happen, we want Frenchie to want it to happen because we've seen that anything he doesn't want to happen happens.
happens.
So
Right. Yeah, he's cursed. um so yeah, so they both play, and then Derek X ends up winning. And then I mean, did Derek really need to use the veto? No, he was safe. I don't think he had.
No. However, I do see Derek as X as very easy manipulated because it didn't take that long for Frenchie to get in his head. All he had to hear was, "I'll keep you safe week after week," and Derek X was just like, "Gold. I'll do."
I don't know. I think that honestly, like for me, Alyssa has a good. I think besides Kylan, Alyssa also has a really good read on the house. Honestly, like 1,000%, Alyssa and Kylan. Well, okay, so the reason why I say that is because Alyssa spoke to Derek after the veto, and they were playing chess, and then they were just having, at first they were of course just playing chess, and then she started kind of talking to him, and she was kind of getting in his head like, hey, like if it's me and Kylan on the seat, there's no way I can win against Kylan. And then Derek is like, why not? He's like, I just know because it's Kai. Like it's Kai. Like no one's gonna vote him to go. That lets me know that Alyssa knows very well where she stands in the house, and she has a good read in the house. She knows where people are standing with both of them. She knows that people prefer him over her, which lets me know that she's smarter than what she looks like. And I think she was like, okay, you know what? Derek might not want to take me off, but if he takes Kyland off, there might be a bigger target that goes next to me. And I think that's where it kind of started. Like she's like, but no, I'm not telling you to use it on me. I'm just telling you, like, if you want me to stay, I shouldn't be next to Kylan. And then what happens in the veto? I honestly thought that Derek was going to use the veto on Alyssa, but she didn't. And I think it's because I think French wanted to put up Travis, but he didn't want to list because so it was between Travis and Kylan. That was gonna be very, very difficult. I think if anything between Travis and Kylan, it would have been kind of like, who should we keep? Because you have Kylan who's like very strategic and very mentally strong, but then you have Travis who is potentially physically strong. You just don't know, right? And I think for Derek, it was smarter to take off Kylan to put up Travis, because between Travis and Alyssa, let's be real, Travis is gonna go. If it was between Travis and Kylan, I don't think it would have been as easy as a vote.
I see that. And I see that you think Alyssa talking to Derek is a good read of the house. I don't see it as well as you do. I see it as Alyssa needs to say whatever she can right now to save herself. And she knew that if Kylan was to stay there, she was going to go home. She was hoping that would just remove her. Instead, right. Derek did a very good move on removing Kylan because one, he's keeping kind of Frenchie happy, but at the same time, he was replaced with somebody who's more of a target than her. So it worked out in both cases, which right. was very smart for Derek to use it on Kylan.
Yeah. And kind of going back to what you said about him being easily manipulated, I don't see it. I think that he has a good ears and he has a good way of balancing out different options. And I think that for him, it was better to just do that because honestly, by him doing what he did today, it kind of put the target off of him. It built trust with French. It built that little thing that says, Derek is negotiable. It built a good, solid, maybe relationship with Kylan. And it made him look good with Alyssa because at least he gave her a shot. So I think, especially because, so Kylan, Alyssa, and French are now kind of like on opposite ends of the house. By Derek doing that, he literally put himself in a good spot with all of those three. So if either of if Kylan or Alyssa win HOH next time, Derek is not even a factor. Derek is not a factor with anybody anymore. I don't see it. He was even a factor with French, but he removed himself completely.
I think the only reason that he had the target on himself by French was because he was in those groups that French overheard when he was being creepy and stalking everybody. It's the
And
only
it was
reason
nothing.
he was a
Right. And for a good while, like, I mean, it's Big Brother, right? You never know what's gonna happen. Had Derek not won veto, who knows? He might have been the one up, and it would have probably been like a different situation. But since he won, he used it to his advantage to kind of buy himself back into like the game, you know, to say like, hey, like I'm here to play, I'm here to work with y'all, just to put me up next week. And I think he just that, like he played it very well, like he really did.
Yeah, he for sure. And let's talk about something else Derek X did really well because I was very impressed with the veto comp.
Yeah.
He was smart because he saw how everybody was doing their little maze. And he knew that if I do it differently, I'm gonna have the answer in the end.
Right,
because
right.
everybody's doing it. And ultimately that's what got him his win. Like he played it
he kind of worked like his way up, right? Like he started from like the end to the up. Something like that, right?
And everybody else starting from the top to the bottom. So he was able to compare other people's work to where it was working for them. And he already had his bottom completed. So it worked for him. He was very smart. That shows you right there that he is smart in comps, specifically puzzles.
Yep. He definitely established himself for sure. Like this episode like was Derek's episode. Like from the beginning to the end. Like it was a Derek episode. Like he really worked his way throughout everything. From the social aspect to the comp aspect to everything. From like this guy's a threat. 1,000%. So
yeah. And then I believe like while we were watching the episode, we were texting obviously about the episode.
Right.
And you said that you felt bad because besides Frenchie, you were kind of liking everybody else.
Right.
And then my reply to that was like, nope, I have several people that I don't like. Let me explain to you, and you're probably going to be like, oh my God, these are terrible reasons for you not to like these people. I don't like Christian. He needs to remove his dreads. He's coming off, he doesn't look good in them. And he's coming off really, really cocky. And it's rubbing me the wrong way.
You're right.
Whitney, I have to bring up Whitney. You know, I don't like her. She's still looking fake. Like, I need you to do something with your face to not look fake and do something that's going to make me like you. But right now, I just see a plastic Barbie that I just don't want to win Big Brother because you're going to have $750,000 to go do more work on your face and make you faker. You don't need the money.
I agree with the first opinion. I do not agree with the second. I think that Whitney is still in the game solid. She's solid to me. She's there. She's doing what she needs to do. She's laying low this week, which is smart for her because she does not need to get targeted. Christian, yes. I think Christian is very cocky, which is like, why, dude? Like, even when like Alyssa was like confronting him and French in the HOH room, and she's like, me and Christian don't have like a showmance or anything. And then Christian's like, I mean, I can see why, because I mean, we will look good together. And it's like, and then Alyssa's just like,
even her was like, no, that's a little too much.
Yeah, she was like, no, dude, like you're not my type. He's probably not even her type, and he's already assuming that. He thinks that he's everybody's type, and it's like, oh man.
Yeah, and last on my list of do not like is our current HOH Frenchie.
Of course.
I need him to be target next week. I need him to see the block. I need him to fail at another veto comp like he failed today because he looked completely lost the whole time. And then I need him to get voted out. He wanted to control the whole house. I think he felt like HOH was king and I can tell everybody what to do, but he was walking around this place like, this is my palace and you're going to do what I want. And I think slowly people saw that and it wasn't looking good for him. And I want to see him out. Like, I want to see him out.
Sam. Like even in some, when he heard everybody talking about him or something, like he was outside talking with Derek and some other people, and he's like, I mean, this is my HOH and blah blah. And it's like, okay, dude, you're forgetting your HOH is literally about to come up to be over tomorrow. You need to calm down. Like, it's not forever.
Like, it's time to start toning it down.
Right. You don't want to do that, and yeah, it's just he's not playing it as smart as I thought he was going to be. He's a big character. I just don't know if he's going to get there that too far because he is. Like, Well, he's 1,000% messy for sure. That's but I mean, he is a big character though. He has his little quirks and stuff, but I just don't think that he's playing at the smartest. I think he senses something and he's like, oh, I'm gonna go there, and he's like, oh wait, I hear something over there. I'm gonna go over there. Yeah, and it's like, okay, logic, please, logic. And
let things come to you, Pete. When you're HOH, things come to you. You don't have to go look and create problems for yourself.
Right, exactly.
So I kind of want to talk a little bit more of the veto comp. The whole time, even he said it in a little diary confession thing. Travis was way too confident. I actually think he threw the comp because he literally thought that he was going to be safe by Frenchie, which came back and bit him in the ass because he's on the block now. But I just found it funny that he was just like, I really don't need to win this comp because I do feel safe. But were you? I mean, you're on the block.
Right. I mean, honestly, just in general, like the two people that are on the block right now, I think like Alyssa has a good, like right now so far, I think she has the best read of the house. I'm gonna stand by it. I stand by what I said. I think Travis has the worst read of the house, and I think that's a good dynamic in this vote because people feel more comfortable with Alyssa than they do with Travis. Travis is really just there, and like you don't know what he's up to. Like at least Alyssa like voices her opinions, and you know where she kind of stands. She knows that people know by now that she's gonna say what she's thinking. She's gonna lash out if she needs to. She seems loyal. She just hasn't really been given the opportunity. And like the more I think of, I honestly think like I'm not making a prediction. I think she's kind of like building a little bit of a showman with Xavier. I see Xavier and Alyssa becoming a thing.
I know that he wants it.
And I can see that she's not opposed to it because there was a little segment where they were talking in the room and then like he was saying something and then she hit herself on some like thing and then she was just being silly and then he was like laughing and she was laughing and I was like, of course they're gonna build a little showman. I can already tell. Like I don't know if it's the edit.
If she stays.
But she will. I'm pretty sure. I mean, against Travis, she's gonna stay.
I'm only gonna agree with you because I've seen the lives and I know what comes next. So that's the only reason I'm agreeing with you. Had I not know what I know now, I would be thinking Alyssa's still gonna go home. But I'm only agreeing.
We'll find out tomorrow. So tomorrow it's gonna be live, right? The first live eviction.
Yes.
Okay.
And hopefully it's live because if it runs like BB22 was rumored that it wasn't live.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is live because I think Julie messed up at the beginning, the last one. She said something and then she kind of stuttered a little bit. I was like, oh yeah, this is live.
Oh yeah, I saw it too. And then last key point that I kind of wanted to just because I've gone through my whole list, I've checked it twice. I want to talk a little bit about Big D, Derek F. That fan flip that he did at the beginning of his hosting was fabulous. That right there gave me points. I was like, yes, I love it. Give me more. Give me more.
He's cool. Like, I mean, I'm not like I said, he's part of that Cookout Alliance. So like he's definitely on my list of people that I like. I mean, right now I don't even think I have that many people that I don't like. Like I said, I mean, pretty much just friends and Travis. I know you have Whitney. I don't have Whitney there yet.
I think Whitney's gonna stay there until the very end until she gets.
Brittany, maybe Brittany. I don't know how I feel about Brittany yet. She's just kind of there.
She hasn't, like today's episode, she really didn't have too much of a screen time. I know from the previous episode she was really loud, but I mean, I can see myself getting over that. It's exciting.
For sure. She's very smart. I think she maybe uses her loudness as like a facade at the beginning just to kind of get people's attention. But once all of that kind of dwindles down, she kind of becomes a little bit more personable and more able to talk to kind of thing. So I don't know. She might change a little bit too. So I just don't know. This season's different because I don't have like people that I'm like really like bored of. You know, like I was bored of Tiffany, but no, I'm interested.
I feel like once she gets a little bit more airtime, you're gonna change your mind on Brittany.
Right. I might. Yep. So.
For now, I mean, that's all I had on the episode. It was a really good episode. It was very entertaining.
It was. Yeah. I think tomorrow's gonna be really interesting.
Yeah, I like the results. I like how Frenchie's HOH is coming to an end. So I mean, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about the episode.
Same. I'm really curious to see who's gonna get the next HOH, because that's really gonna. I mean, if the first week was that crazy or just all over the place. Okay, I will say one thing before we get off. I do like that there's no big group established. Like, I love that. Like, I live for the fact that there's like no big dominant group controlling the whole house. I'm like, oh, yes, that's what I wanted. So
yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of alliances everywhere, but no big group.
Right, which to me is a plus. That's the kind of Big Brother I want to watch. Because as of right now, like, anybody can win HOH. Like, there's like no one that's like, okay, if this person wins, like, this group is gonna have the upper hand. I don't see it. I don't see it. So
yeah. So one last question that I want to ask you. It's a prediction. We both know who is going to get evicted at this point. We have already established that. My wanting to know is, make a prediction on who is going to win our HOH tomorrow.
Well, I'll do two predictions. One more of like a want and more of like a possibility. I would love to have Kylan win HOH. That would just be amazing.
Of course.
But I think for some reason I kind of see Brent winning.
I can see that. He's gonna gun for it. Yes, I can see that.
He's gonna gun for it. I think this is the time for him to gun for it and really make the moves. Like, either decide, does he want to go with French or does he want to go with the house, kind of thing. And it's really gonna set him apart of two, where he can decide to go to it. He can either shake it up or he can maybe move the target from French to someone else. You don't know. But I think that Brent would be like a pretty good HOH, in the sense that we don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. I really wouldn't know what's gonna happen if he wins HOH. So yeah, that's my prediction. What's yours?
Good predictions. So for me, my want, I kind of want Sarah Beth, because she's my new favorite.
Okay.
I don't think it's too smart for her to win HOH right now, but it's my want.
Right.
I think Claire is going to get the next HOH.
Ooh, okay. That's another one that I wouldn't. I feel like Claire's kind of like the male version of Brent, a little bit.
Yeah, I see her gunning for the HOH. Yeah. And I'm interested to see what she does with an HOH. She came in second last time, so she was close.
You're right. Yep.
But we shall see. Tomorrow is the first live. Well, actually, it's the second live show. First eviction.
Yep.
So it should be fun.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, then I guess we'll tune in tomorrow, and then we'll see what happens, right?
Yep. We'll see.
All right. Well, until next time.
Until next.